We hear so much about staying healthy as we age, and this idea of a strong immune system, it's always there, isn't it?
It really is. But what if, strength isn't the only factor, or even the main one?
Okay, so what are we talking about then?
Well, there's this concept emerging from research called immune resilience,
Hmm.
IR for short.
Immune resilience, right?
Yeah, and it might actually be more important. It's basically how well your body adapts to and recovers from immunological stress.
Stress like infections.
Infections, yeah, or inflammation, toxins,
Yeah.
the usual suspects. And critically, how well it bounces back to a balanced state afterwards without causing chronic problems.
Ah, okay. So it's less about brute force and more about flexibility,
Right.
adaptability.
Exactly. Not just raw power, but the ability to, handle a challenge and then settle back down.
That makes sense.
And there was this really fascinating study published in Aging Cell. They looked at over 17,000 individuals.
Wow, 17,000. That's significant.
It is. And they found that this immune resilience was, get this, a stronger predictor of mortality than the person's actual chronological age.
Seriously. Better than just counting birthdays.
That's what the data suggested. They actually managed to categorize people.
How did they do that?
They basically identified three main groups. You had the IR preservers folks,
Hmm.
who generally maintained good immune regulation over time,
Okay, the lucky ones.
sort of. Then IR reconstitutors. They might have some temporary imbalances, maybe get knocked off kilter by an infection, but they recover well. Their system resets.
Right, they bounce back.
Exactly. And then the third group, the IR degraders.
That doesn't sound good.
No.
Hmm.
For these individuals, their immune coordination seems to decline gradually. It's often subtle, maybe unnoticeable day to day.
Like a slow breakdown.
Kind of. Leading to things like chronic, low-grade inflammation. They become more vulnerable because the system just isn't coordinating properly anymore.
That's quite concerning, especially if it's invisible.
It is. But interestingly, the researchers also found they could see patterns, molecular signatures actually, in the blood that correlated with these groups.
Oh, right. I think I read about that. The SAS1 and MAS1 signatures?
Yes, precisely. SAS1, the survival-associated signature, was linked to that strong, well-regulated immunity you see in preservers.
Good signature to have.
Definitely. And MAS1, the mortality-associated signature, well, that was associated with more inflammation and signs of immune exhaustion,
Hmm.
more common in the degraders.
So potentially these could be like early warning signs, markers for how resilient your immune system is.
That's the hope, yeah. Could be powerful tools down the line. But here's the really actionable part.
Okay.
While our genes obviously play some role, lifestyle factors have a huge impact on which group you might fall into or move towards.
Ah, so it's not just predetermined. We can actually influence our own immune resilience.
Absolutely. See as we can.
So what are we talking about? What practical things can people do to, nudge themselves towards being a preserver or at least a reconstitutor?
Well, the research points to several key things, many which won't surprise you. Sleep is foundational. Getting enough quality sleep is just crucial for immune regulation.
Right. Sleep hygiene, always important.
Then there's nutrition, focusing on whole foods, plenty of polyphenols, those compounds in colorful plants, and omega-3 fatty acids, and importantly, cutting back on ultra-processed foods.
Because they drive inflammation.
These certainly seem to contribute to that chronic, low-grade inflammation we want to avoid.
Makes sense. What else? Exercise?
Regular, moderate exercise, yes. Think of it like training for your immune system.
Yeah.
It helps make it more efficient and adaptable, not necessarily extreme stuff, but consistent movement.
Okay. Moderate, consistent activity. Got it.
And stress management. We can't ignore that. Chronic stress really does a number on immune balance.
So things like mindfulness, meditation.
Exactly. Or even just strong social connections, things that help buffer stress and maintain that equilibrium.
It really all ties together, doesn't it? The mind, the body, the immune system.
It's all interconnected. There's even some interesting, though maybe less established evidence around things like vaccination helping train the system and this concept called hormesis.
Hormesis, what's that?
It's the idea that small, manageable doses of stress can actually build resilience, like short bursts of cold exposure, maybe. Mild stressors that teach the body to adapt.
Huh. Interesting. So the big picture here isn't just about having a super aggressive immune system ready to attack anything.
Not at all. It's really about fostering flexibility, responsiveness, and crucially, the ability to recover and return to balance. Shifting from constantly fighting fires to nurturing that inner resilience proactively.
This has been a really insightful deep dive, moving beyond just strong immunity to this idea of resilience. It feels much more nuanced and maybe achievable.
I think so. It puts more focus on maintaining that dynamic equilibrium.
So it really makes you think if maintaining that inner balance, that resilience is key. What's one small change, maybe just one thing, that you listening could try today to nudge your own system towards that goal?